Hey, how's it, everybody? Good to see you here. My name's Mad Statter, and this is Chatter with Statter. It's 5 p.m. West Coast time, 3 p.m. Hawaii time, and 8 p.m. on the East Coast, so you know what time it is. That's right, I just told you. It's time to gather round. Let's get this chatter started. Looks like we've got a couple people already hanging out. Rick, happy Wednesday to you. Aloha, Darlene. And you know, Rick, I was feeling smart and fancy, and I checked the Twitch stream before I started, or after I started streaming, but before I showed my face, and it looks like we have the gear. We have the gear. We can downgrade. We can upgrade. So that is phenomenal. That is what I like to see. Good to see you here. And yeah, today is a little bit of a happy Wednesday, although I did have a lot of tax work to do. So there's a little bit of slapdashery, as it were, but we'll get into those details later. In the meantime, why don't we get this party started? All right, so I wish that I had realized we were going to get the gear. That way, I had actually kind of contemplated today streaming at the 180 as opposed to the 720, but then I chickened out because I didn't want to get Twitch all twitchy. So even though we have the gear, we're still only streaming at 720 because I didn't get. Basically, I didn't go back into my settings quick enough to fiddle faddle. It was a fleeting thought that crossed my mind as I was running work errands today. And, well, I didn't put my plan into action. Sorry about that, guys. So we're still stuck at 720, but at least you can adjust lower just in case. And it looks like eMusic is in the house, and perhaps eMusic is liking the adjustable gear. I know that plenty of people do like the adjustable gear. If Michi Mama was here, she would be shouting, "Yay, adjustable gear!" And I'm pretty sure Andre likes the adjustable gear as well, but he's probably still at work or else traveling from work on the BART station or on the BART train where he doesn't have much choice anyway. So let's see here. Alrighty, it is good to have everyone in the house. And yeah, you're right. Life does have to come first. But sometimes we get to switch, or we get to squeeze both life and streaming into one big kerfuffle. And today I decided I had to do some work errands, and which took me all the way across West Seattle town, north up to the point of West Seattle. And I thought to myself, why not take a little bit of a video to see if I could find some spring flowers, because it has been a smidge spring-like, and for the last couple days. Yesterday it was a little bit rainy, but it did eventually clear up. Today it's been kind of sunny. Shh, don't tell anyone it's sunny in Seattle. This is a secret, even though I'm going to be showing you video. Shh, don't tell. Even though the skies are blue in Seattle, shh, it always rains. Remember, that's the story. It always rains in Seattle. In Boston, apparently, it snows, though. So that kind of sucks. Sorry to hear that, Medium 7-Up. Snowing again in Boston. Doesn't really surprise me, though. I mean, sometimes it even snows in April, so at least in Seattle. I can only assume Boston as well. So hopefully we won't have too much snowy weather left. We're starting to get springtime blooms here. And E.T. Aloha, good to see you. And Ware, phenomenal to see you. And of course, Kenny from the Cove, thank you for coming in here and saying aloha to all the Statterbox crew. As I was saying, I mixed business with pleasure today, and I took some video on my work errands while I was doing work errands, and I did manage, even though the spring bloom isn't in full bloom yet, I did manage to find a section of trees that were remarkably bloomy, and like, I kind of don't know why they're ahead of schedule the way everybody else isn't. But instead of talking about it, why don't I just do this? Let's do this. All right, so yeah, so this is a little video that I took. And in case you didn't notice, at the beginning, there was a cow on a roof. And that cow on the roof is my favorite landmark. It's been there since forever. It used to be a deli where there was a cow on the roof, but now it's a bar. But I'm glad they kept the cow on the roof. So yeah, hanging out in West Seattle, I decided to take some side streets and see if I could get some pretty footage. And so I know, right, Darlene? Shh, nice blue skies. You're not seeing it. See all that blue? That's actually, it's rainy. It's rainy and cloudy. See, so you're, don't believe your lion eyes. It's not sunny. It's cloudy, right? Right. Yeah. And this street was heading directly west. And so when we were at the crest of the hill, you could see to the Puget Sound and the Olympic Mountains across. But we have since, what am I going to say? Gone down too far, so you can't really see it anymore. And Kenny from the Cove, your rose bushes are already starting to get little leaf buds, and we're getting a strong cold snap on Friday. Well, I mean, my roses have their leaf buds on them too, and roses actually, I mean, they can be pretty resilient, you know? So this little road normally has a lot of trees that are very bloomy and beautiful. So this section of road is not springtime yet. Not yet. And oh my, eMusic, it's 0 degrees, heading for -2 tonight. Not too bad. Yeah, that's a lie. No, eMusic, that's a total lie. That is bad. That is cold. Roses don't like it when it's that cold, but the kind of cold that Kenny's probably talking about in Texas, I think your roses can probably handle that, Kenny. It's not like it's, Minnesota or Wisconsin cold. Hey, Vanilla Coke Pepsi, good to see you. You are joining in on a little springtime flower search for the city of Seattle. This is West Seattle, and we're heading onto 35th Avenue, which is one of the main north-south north-south, what are they called? Roads along the West Seattle Peninsula. And so to the left would be the Puget Sound. To the right would be a hill up a hill, basically. And looks like -10 where Vanilla Coke Pepsi is. See, you guys have -10, -2, 0. Whereas these trees right here, I don't know what schedule they're on. But clearly they got a memo that spring has sprung, the grass is grown. So it's time to go all, flowery and stuff. And so that was the biggest spring bloom I've found so far. So that's the fancy pants flowers that we saw. But I figured we could go a little bit further up West Seattle way, so you can see basically what West Seattle's all about, because there are distinct phases of West Seattle. This is like old school. This is what West Seattle has always looked like for the most part. Yeah, Darlene, those trees looked really nice. I don't know why they decided it was time to bloom, but they seem happy, so there you go. And this is Ezel's famous fried chicken. I didn't even know that we had one in West Seattle. Ezel's is a famous fried chicken place, and the reason why it's famous, you probably have never heard of it, and that's okay. But the reason why it's famous is apparently Oprah Winfrey loves it so much that she has it flown to wherever the heck she is. We'll say Chicago. I actually don't know where Oprah lives, but we're going to say she lives in Chicago. She has it flown into her homestead area. And their biscuits are super good. I'm not a fan of their chicken. Their chicken's not a fan of me. It's really more of a symbiotic hatred there. But it is good until it's not good. But apparently Oprah doesn't care when it's not good. She loves it all the time. So medium 7 up. Oprah has a place on Maui. Not surprised, but who knows? Maybe she gets the chicken flown to her in Maui. It's probably just as close to fly from Seattle to Maui as it is Seattle to Chicago, really. And so, the chicken gets flown out to her. So it's apparently supremely good chicken. I mean, like really good chicken. to me, it's meh. And then Ezel was also the name of the crackhead in the movie Friday. That doesn't surprise me. That's a really funny movie too, actually. I really like that, like the movie Friday. I don't think there's any nudity in that movie. We might be able to get to show that on Statterbox at the cinema. Hey, Cindy Krause, good to see you. We are just taking a quick little holo up through West Seattle today. This is literally fresh off the presses. This video was taken and cut down to, this was like a 50-minute long video. And trust me, guys, we're not watching the whole 50 minutes. It's like a 10-minute video. And some of the 10 minutes, like this one behind this white car, I wanted to kick him. He was doing 15 miles an hour in a 25-mile-an-hour zone. Now, in a 25-mile-an-hour zone in Seattle, that's normally like when people do 40. So why he was doing 15, I don't know why he was doing 15. I was annoyed. And, well, we cut the audio out of this section of the video, partially because I was so annoyed. We'll just leave it at that. But basically, though, this little neighborhood in West Seattle, this road is Fauntleroy Road. And why do you care if it's Fauntleroy Road? Well, this road actually normally, under normal circumstances, is a packed main thoroughfare that goes from the Fauntleroy Ferry Terminal in West Seattle to the West Seattle Bridge. And the West Seattle Bridge is quite literally the only way for West Seattle to connect to Seattle. Unfortunately, that bridge has been closed for the last 2 years because it's literally falling down. And so lots of rerouting have been done, and people have to literally go probably like about 20 miles out of their way from West Seattle. What used to be a 2-mile drive is now closer to a 20-mile drive to get, you have to go down the river, cross the river, back up the river before you can get to Seattle. Whereas the bridge used to just, cross the river mouth and you're good to go. But you can see, though, what we were just in previously a couple blocks ago was totally neighborhood style, old West Seattle style neighborhood. Now, as you can see, this is like the brand new buildings and constructions that have basically gone up in the last decade. And then, so both sides of the street, you're looking at higher density housing. The Trader Joe's is brand new. And so, but now you're like, wait, this is back to old school again. This is the type of building and business district that West Seattle used to be. Low buildings, no high rises, very 1950s, 1940s style buildings. And as you can see, those are slowly getting torn down for higher density units of housing with commercial properties underneath. And yeah, a Trader Joe's, there's definitely a brand new Trader Joe's. And that Trader Joe's, their parking lot is annoying, but not as bad as others because they actually have a parking garage. So even though their parking lot is like this weird triangle that's very difficult to get in and out of, and has very few visible parking spaces, if you know how to get to the parking garage, which isn't obvious, it's not as bad of a place to park for Trader Joe's as other Trader Joe's parking lots. But it's still not a good parking lot. I still stand by my Trader Joe's does not have good parking lots mantra. And Darlene, yeah, you see leafy green buds on the other trees too. Spring is on the verge of being sprung, which is why I wanted to go see if I could catch the blooms, because the problem is what happens here in Washington more years than not is the blooms will start to come out and then a weather system will come in, blow all the blooms off, and then like the rest of the blooms come out, another weather system comes in, blows all the blooms off, and you don't really get a very pretty flower bloomscape. You kind of have to like literally within the hour of them blooming get the video of it. And so I've been the last couple days, I've sort of been like, it's gonna bloom any minute now. So I wanted to basically, you'll be seeing a lot of random footage like this. Well, maybe you won't be seeing it, but I'll be taking a lot of random footage like this to get the peak bloom. That's what I'm hoping to get. Hey, not medium 7-Up, Michael Anthony Smith, good to see you. I'm glad that you woke up from your little nap just to join us here. This was a little holo that I took literally earlier today, but I have to ask you guys, remember, you didn't see blue sky. The sky that you saw in that video, don't believe your lion eyes. The sky you saw in that video, it was gray. It was rainy today, right? Because where am I? I'm in Seattle, and it always rains in Seattle. So, gotta keep the story straight. This is our story. Let's keep it straight. Always rains in Seattle. Yes. And so, yeah, Elaine, exactly. It was a beautiful day today, and so I had to go out and get some footage, even though I was supposed to be working from home, doing tax stuff. I didn't do very much tax stuff, like, at all. I did one tax thing. So let's see here. Medium 7-Up. Did I get a little haircut? No, but what I did do is I washed my hair and then I tried to do it and it's almost dry. So it looks super almost cute. Thank you for noticing though. Actually, you know what? No, I did get a haircut a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. And so now my hair isn't nearly as frizzy as it was. So thanks for noticing, man. And let's see here. Vanilla Coke Pepsi, here if you see a moose on the road, you're basically dead, even if you're in your car. That is hysterical. Vanilla Coke Pepsi, is Seattle a state or a city? That is a really funny question. It is technically a city. Not gonna joke there. But basically, when it comes to the state of Washington, which is where the city of Seattle is located, most people, if you say you're from Washington, if you're traveling and you say you're from Washington, people automatically assume it's DC, the capital, on the other side of the country from where it actually is. So it's just as easy to say you're from Seattle, even if you're from 500 miles from Seattle. It's just easier to say you're from Seattle. So I can see why he would be a little confused. But no, Seattle is a city, not a state. But in the Seattle greater metropolitan area, there is about 1 million people, and it is the most densely, it's the most populated county. Where Seattle's located is the most populated county in the city, in the state, and most of the tax revenue comes from the city of Seattle that the state gets. So Seattle's needs, wants, and wishes are held first and foremost when it comes to state planning, much to the chagrin of people on the east side of the mountains. There's a real mountainous divide, both literally and figuratively, among the residents of the state of Washington. And as far as the people on the east side of the mountains are concerned, Seattle thinks they're the whole state, but they're not. And, that's kind of true. We do kind of think we're the whole state, but then again, we're footing the bill for the whole state, so maybe step off Spokane, whatever. That's just the little in-state rivalry we have here. So let's see. Let's see. What am I missing here? Because I feel like somebody said something that I wanted to comment on, but I guess I'm not going to. Sorry, I missed it. There was something I wanted to say. And yeah, Kenny from the Cove, that sounds a little bit intimidating, but not really. I mean, so Kenny from the Cove says, the Discovery Channel just ran a commercial for the Bee Czar. Holy socks, the guy was walking around with a swarm of bees on his crotch. What in the wide world of sports? Well, my best guess is if he's walking around with a swarm on his crotch, that's probably where the Queen landed. I know we could go on a sidetrack there, but we're not going to. But that is it's the scent of the Queen that causes the bees to swarm and follow her to wherever it is the Queen, wherever she decides to land is where the swarm is going to follow. So there you go. And as a general rule, if you are gentle and calm, when a bee's hive is swarming, like they're not concerned. They don't have a nest yet to defend. They just want to be with their queen. They're not out gathering food. As long as you don't really bug them, they're not gonna, they're not gonna bother you. And Michael Anthony Smith, take that, Tacoma. Oh, Michael Anthony Smith, how much time have you spent in the Pacific Northwest? Because I will tell you what, that is exactly, like, you clearly are. I know that you're not a local, but you talk like a local. That is exactly right. Tacoma, it's so sad. They're a really big city, but not nearly as big as Seattle. And yeah, whenever I, refer to Seattle, it's just sort of like, oh, Tacoma. Don't get me wrong, I love Tacoma, but Tacoma is like the redheaded stepchild of the state. Yeah. So, oh no, whoa. Okay, so Rick is coming in with a baseball update. The owners canceled the first 162 league games so far this season. Dude, how many games are there in a season? 162 can't. How many games are in a season? I mean, 162 games seems like a really good season to me. How many flipping games are in a season? Oh my. Oh my. And yeah, exactly, Darlene. Those swarms can totally be huge, and totally engulf a tree, a car, almost anything. Precisely. Yeah. God help whatever the queen decides to land on, because everybody else is following suit. Rick, well then, what is SeaTac? Equal billing? Oh, well, SeaTac is an afterthought of a city. SeaTac actually is, boy, I really sound awful saying this. SeaTac is an afterthought of a city. SeaTac didn't incorporate until, I don't know, maybe 30 years ago. It's one of the newer cities in Washington, and it used to be unincorporated King County, where the airport happens to be located. But due to all sorts of things, they decided that it was best that they incorporate. And so SeaTac, actually, my town bumps up against SeaTac. SeaTac is a thriving Indian community. And by Indian, I mean from India, not indigenous population from our continent. And as I've mentioned before, even though Burien has a ton of ethnic restaurants and markets and things, SeaTac has a completely different, like a different set of them, and so if you want to go, if you're craving Indian food, Burien's not really where you want to be. You want to like go down to SeaTac, which is literally like 10 blocks away. So not a big deal. So let's see here. Oh, hey, Andre, bad reception. So cannot see or hear, the chat, but wish everyone a great chat. He says, all right, Andre, we will, well, you can't hear me, but yeah, there we go. We will see you later on. And so let's see here. Oh my goodness. This is hysterical. So Medium 7-Up, you forgot to tell me. Oh, I'm super stoked to hear this. Someone in a Facebook group asked a question about how to clean impossible tub stains. Someone said once they spilled Prell in their tub and it bleached it white. See? And that's why we sick the Prell on ya. You gotta bleach yourself, make yourself pure, get all the ook off of ya. That's it. It is time to throw down some Prell dots. Everybody, that is exactly it. If you are a member of this stream, you have access to the Prell dots. And Vanilla Coke Pepsi. Prell is a shampoo that we have here in the United States. This is the old logo of Prell. It's a green shampoo. And it is It's very, well, it's a very harsh cleanser, and it's a very harsh cleanser for your hair, but apparently it's also an excellent cleanser for cleaning off, cleaning off bathtub stains. So awesome then. Okay. Yeah, Darlene, exactly. It's not a good shampoo, I might say. It is very harsh and very intense. Very intense. Yes, make yourself Prell pure. That's exactly it. That is exactly it. Rick, that explains it. That's why your hair is turning white. Exactly. And that is so funny. Yes, Medium 7-Up. I don't know if this still exists, but exactly, because when I was, you know how this all started, right? I wasn't even sure if Prell still existed, but suddenly we have this running joke that keeps on feeding off of itself. I'm so happy to learn that, I'm not happy to learn. I don't really know how I feel, but I think it's hysterical, I guess, that the topic of Prell did come up and the handy use for it. Shoot, dude, maybe I'll go grab some Prell to clean my shower. Vanilla Coke Pepsi, you can't use harsh cleanser here in Canada. Walk outside after using too strong of a shampoo after a shower and your hair freezes. Well, I would think that your hair could freeze no matter what. I mean, if it's wet, right? And my best guess is they did have Prell back in the day. Like, whether or not they still have back in the Prell, a different story. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, see, Vanilla Coke Pepsi, Prell has not been available in Canada for 13 years. I'm not surprised. It is available in the States, but honestly, I really don't know if it should be. Perhaps marketed as a bathroom cleanser. Okay, but for your hair, I just don't know about that. Yeah, exactly, Darlene. Thank you so much. Great emote, great use for Prell, except for not in your hair. Yeah, exactly. And Ann Ware. Okay, so Vanilla Coke Pepsi is, being a little bit of a smarty patootie, but he's also telling the truth. Ann Ware says, yeah, you got to be careful not to break your hair when it gets icy crunchy. I'm sorry, what? Are you telling me, because I don't live where it's that cold, obviously. So are you telling me that your hair can get so frozen icy that you can break the hair? Like what? What? Like it'll just like, you can crack it and it breaks? That's so weird, dude. Darlene, also a northerner who might know things like this. Yes, it can break. It snaps off. Oh my. Oh, I think I'd keep my hair away from that. Oh, Vanilla Coke Pepsi. That's why you keep your hair short, huh? Vanilla Coke Pepsi. No other reasons at all. Let's see here. And that's why we have toques. Yeah, exactly. So, but Darlene, if you're not careful, you could actually go bald. And Kenny from the Cove, frozen hair, not a problem I'll ever have again. There you go. Move to Minnesota, man. Your Minnesota hair safe. I know, Medium 7-Up. Exactly. What? I mean, literally, what? By the way, I'm going to say it one more time. What? That is, yes, Spagola T. We are chatting about freezing hair. We started off on a completely different subject, which was springtime flowers in Seattle. But it has since devolved into Prell being an excellent cleanser for stubborn bathtub stains, and what happens to your hair when you're in the crazy northern climates of Canada and Minnesota and Wisconsin. And if you have wet hair, apparently, in the wrong kind of really cold weather, you can actually, boom, crack it off. Like, it'll break. It won't bend, it'll break. And Darlene's even saying, shoot, you could go bald if you ain't careful. What in the heck? Dude, that is craziness. Well, Vanilla Coke Pepsi, I've felt weather below 5 degrees C, and I wouldn't say that it was cold enough for my hair to break off. Granted, I haven't had much weather colder than -5, or, yeah. Well, yeah, actually 5 degrees Celsius, that's like 40 degrees, dude. That's no big deal. But -5 is what I was actually thinking. I haven't had it much lower than -5. But I don't think even -5 Celsius would be cold enough to break my hair. Wow. And so E-Music, when you were in Hawaii, you never used a hairdryer, but now that you're in Wisconsin, you're afraid your wet hair will give you the true brain freeze. Wow, interesting. Gosh, what a thing to learn. What do you know? And Vanilla Coke Pepsi, it's quite satisfying to break off. Honestly, I could see myself going a little too crazy and suddenly ending up with like a janky hairstyle because I decided to okay, so Ann Ware's coming in. Yep, that's how it goes. Yes, it's an important thing to dry your hair completely in the winter so you don't freeze the hair or get a super painful wet head headache in the winter. Wow, God, you guys. I mean, I know that Northerners more north than where I am have to deal with things and stuff, but frozen, broken hair never, ever crossed my mind. So let's see here. Vanilla Coke Pepsi, it's quite common to take your showers in the evening in Canada because if your hair isn't dry before you go out, it can become a problem. Wet head headache sucks. Yeah, well, yeah, actually, I take my showers at night as well, usually, and only because as a kid, that's what my mom made us do. And my mom's from Canada, so I wonder if that had anything to do with it, because it seems like most people do prefer to take their showers in the morning, which to me is sort of a nightmare. Why would you take a shower in the morning when you could sleep longer? Right? I mean, you could sleep longer. So, take a shower the night before, because you can sleep longer. Well, I don't understand anybody who doesn't understand that. Yeah, exactly. And where we are a crazy kooky bunch in the freezing climates. Why do we put up with it? Hawaii is calling to you. That is good. And exactly, Rick, sleep is good. I mean, bathing is good too, but sleep is better. Sleep is better. And so Michael Anthony Smith, your mom was from Maui and she made you take showers at night. I wonder if it's maybe just a kid thing. You dirty kid, go clean up before you get between the sheets. Especially if you got those red dirt on your feet. Because, Maui red dirt, Oahu red dirt, Hawaii red dirt, Kauai red dirt, probably even Molokai red dirt. That'll stain the sheets. Let's see here. Vanilla Coke Pepsi. I find it so funny one time when the Hawaiians and Southerners say like 15C is sweater weather. Like here it's beach tanning weather. So 30 plus. Oh yeah, that's like 60 degrees out. Dude, no. That's so funny you should say that because this weekend I showed a video. It was 45 degrees out, which would have been about 7 or 8 degrees Celsius, your time, the way you tail it. Yeah, we had people out. It was sunny. It was one of the first really sunny days of, after the gray, because our season isn't so much icy as it is just gray. Because remember, it's never sunny in Seattle. And but this one time the other day when it might have been pretending to be sunny, yeah, it was 45 degrees out and they didn't have their shirt on. Literally, they did not have their shirt on, some of them. They were in shorts, some of them even. Now, granted, the people that were in shorts, they were jogging, so I'll give them a little bit of I'll cut them some slack. I mean, but the people without shirts, they were a little insane. But, yeah, after a while, you don't care. It's just sunny, and you just want to get the sun on your skin. Darlene, with it warming up gradually here, our postman was wearing shorts and a jacket, not pants and a coat. There you go. Well, I don't know. Some of the postmen, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say yours is one of them, depending upon their route, like some of them deliver from their truck, but others deliver by walking. And, if you're hauling a big, heavy sack of mail, walking up and down the street, my best guess is your body heat probably can keep you pretty warm. I know that, the UPS dudes almost all wear shorts throughout the 12 months of the seasons here in Washington. I'm sure in Minnesota they do not. But, when you're delivering stuff, you're working. So I can totally see how the postman, I mean, yeah, sure, the postman's not like delivering a refrigerator, but he's still delivering stuff. And let's see here. Vanilla Coke Pepsi. It's funny how the British forced Americans to use the imperial system, and now they make fun of you for using it. Oh no, the British don't use, the British still use the blah, blah. The British still use inches and miles. They don't use, they aren't nearly as centimetered and metered and kilometered as you guys are. The British measuring system is actually even more screwed up than the United States one, because they mix it up all, but they still do use the imperial system. They don't measure things in kilometers in England, at least not when I was there. And I've got a friend who's currently living there, and we had a discussion about this, and she broke it down, but I don't remember the details. But basically, it's a whole bunch of different units of measurement is what England uses. So they don't make fun of us that much. Not like the rest of Europe. Part of the reason why the rest of Europe considers England not to be a part of Europe, really. England is its own Anglo-Saxon thing, and Europe is its own European thing. I know that with the European Union, they tried to convince everybody otherwise, but the fact of the matter is the Brits still used the pound, not the euro. The Brits are their own thing, and it just is what it is. So let's see here. Darlene, he's in and out of his postal truck, so maybe the warmth of the truck and like I said, hauling stuffs can make a person stay warm enough, I guess. Yeah, totally. Pacola T, letter carrier is the proper term. I was corrected recently to address the postal worker this way instead of mailman, mail lady. Fair enough. That makes sense. I can appreciate that. Gender neutral. I'll see if I can remember it. I will try. Thank you for dropping that knowledge. And, wait, what? E-music. You have the mailboxes on a swing? So the postal lady doesn't have to get out of her truck? I don't know what you mean by that. My mailboxes are on like a stand by the side of the road, and so the postal carrier doesn't have to get out of their truck either. But on a swing, is that really what your type's meant to type? What your fingers meant to type? Whatever. Vanilla Coke Pepsi. In Quebec, it's almost always exclusively metric. Exactly. Because Quebec is more European than those weird Anglo-Saxon Brits. Yeah, that's exactly it. Let's see here. And where that and being its set of, well, yeah, being a set of islands, right, which is literally separate from Europe, right, which creates a cultural difference, right? And I know that when I visited England 30 some odd years ago, England didn't like to, they didn't consider themselves part of Europe. Now, granted, this was before the whole European Union Euro experiment took place, but England was just like, no, we're England, they're Europe. And I kind of got the impression that Europe was like, oh yeah, we're Europe and you're England. Not, we're Europe. That's not ever. So, okay, yeah, all right, we got things going on here. Kenny from the Cove, 65 and up, you can do shirts and sleeveless t-shirts. Below 65, it's hoodie time for oldie-locks. That seems like a fair enough metric. And Darlene, that's what our mail trucks do too. Well, not our mail trucks, the drivers of the mail trucks. Because the steering wheel is on the wrong side, so they can be on that side, so they can just stuff it in the boxes. But but Anne is saying that on country roads, the mailboxes are on swing away posts. And I don't know what that means. Because, like, I mean, my mailbox is on a post, but it's a stationary post. So I guess it's the swing metric that I'm a little confused with. Michael Anthony Smith, you're trying to keep your postman off LSD. Your mail ends up everywhere. Well, my mail ends up everywhere too, but it's not the post office. It's just generally mail thieves, but you know, whatever. Vanilla Coke Pepsi, where I live, we don't have a mailbox. We have like 3 giant square brown things that have tiny boxes where we put our mail in, like every neighborhood. Yeah, some of our neighborhoods have those too. And, a lot of the neighborhoods in my area that had those are now replacing them because they are a heyday for mail thieves. Mail theft is a huge problem in my area. And so, somehow those big lock boxes that seem like they're more secure than the other the other boxes. No, the mail thieves have the secret squirrel way to get into them, and so people are actually getting individual locked boxes, mailboxes that go on posts. That way there's more, like, they have to open more boxes as opposed to just like the one main lock or whatever it is. Like, it's more difficult to break into a bunch of post office boxes rather than just one. Okay, so let's see here. Cola T, you're amazed at videos you've seen of mail being delivered by boat or train. They have to fling it with good timing so the package doesn't land overboard or under the rails. Yeah, I've seen that before with the postal service. I want to say I saw, it was like in Canada or something, these like remote islands, you know, the mail comes once a day, and yeah, they literally, like, they don't even stop. They just sort of drive by and toss the bag o' letters overboard. Okay, so eMusic, it's a swinging arm that reaches out to the road. The P.O. box can swing inwards to get away from the snow plows going by. Oh. Okay, so I guess my next question is, like, does I don't know how to phrase this, so do the swinging mailboxes swing automatically with, like, the force of the snowplow going by? Or do you have to know that the snowplow is coming and then you need to swing your mailbox in? How does it know when to swing in and when to not be in? And okay, so Ann Ware might be answering this question. Ann Ware says, the swing away is for the snowplows that hit them. It swings around instead of being smashed off. The metal mailbox posts are arched far over the road, so the post is far enough back not to get broken. Rick, coming in. The swing away on mailboxes for the snowplows knocking over the mailbox on a fixed post. Oh. Whatever. Okay. Hey, Vanilla Coke Pepsi. I know that life seems weird because your life has really gotten to the point where you're actively listening to Americans talking about the American postal system that has nothing to you. Yes, but you're teaching Americans about the, about your postal system as well. So you're teaching us just like we're boring you. And Vanilla Coke Pepsi, why would you steal mail? There's bills and birthday cards from Grandma. Because birthday cards from Grandma might have checks in them. And people paying their bills might have checks in those envelopes. And you can use those checks to erase the ink off of them and write new checks to cash money. And when you're a druggie, you know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. I know what they do. I don't know how they do it. I mean, I have an idea, but I've never tried it and I'm not going to. But that's why. It's basically for money. And if it's not for the money, it's in case it with all the online shopping and stuff, people steal packages and either use what they stole or sell it on the black market. As Medium 7-Up just says, someone stole a package off my porch. My grandma's items he picked out to give me right before he died. Jeez. Right. And then sometimes they end up flipping, stealing something that has basically no value except for sentimental, no monetary value, but the most precious sentimental value possible. And that's frustrating. And I'm sure that they're frustrated too, because they're just like, well, this cardigan isn't really going to be worth much on the black market. And it's like, yeah, well, it wasn't the point of the cardigan to begin with. So, yeah, exactly, Vanilla Coke Pepsi. Package stealers are another kind of grummy. You don't even know what you're stealing. That's exactly true. So let's see here. Rick says they do that mailboat delivery thing at Lake Geneva in Wisconsin. It's the same lake as our snow sculpture video. Yes, it is the same lake as your snow sculpture video. I didn't know that. So, wait, is Lake Geneva that difficult to get to by road? That they have to get to it by boat? Or Rick, you might have some splaining to do on that one. So, and where? Okay, cool. You sent me a picture on Discord. Excellent. I will, I will take a look, so I'll have a vague idea of what the flying fork it is all y'all are talking about. So let's see here. And, it's a challenge to mount a large locking mailbox on those swing away posts. You can tell ya. Sounds like you might have some experience in that there, Missy. Yes. Vanilla Coke Pepsi, you know nothing about the Canadian postal system. You're a teenager. Does it look like you mail? Good point. Lots of folks your age, lots of folks my age don't even mail anything anymore. That's why when we, in my state, we vote by mail, on paper ballots. So you can actually go back and look at what people voted for if you need to. And, yeah, they found out that a ton of people didn't have stamps in their house anymore. So voting by mail was actually not very helpful for a lot of people because they had no way to mail it. So now they you don't have to pay postage on your ballots. And Michael Anthony Smith, this nurse is trying to kill you. Well, not sure I believe that, but I definitely believe that it seems like that. And are you telling me that are you still not at home? Are you still, I am so bummed to hear that you might still be in the hospital, my friend. I'm so happy that you're here to help pass the time a little bit. I hope we're helping to keep your mind off of things and stuff. But it sounds like it's kind of hard to get your mind kept off of things and stuff when the nurse is trying to kill ya. But, as Kenny from the Cove's saying, is she at least pretty? So Darlene's explaining the boat mail thing. Not difficult in the city street area of Geneva, but, hold on. But by the lake residents on the lake and in the bays of the lake, it's just easier to do by boat. Okay, interesting. Aloha Yamamoto-san, good to see you. We're talking about the mail system, oddly enough, and swing away mailboxes. And I'm not exactly sure how we got on the subject, but I have no doubt that we will somehow find our way to a new one. But right now we're talking about mail. Yep. Package thieves, how much they suck. Swing away mailboxes for the types of people who have snowplows in their area. And let's see here. Rick is saying that Lake Geneva is a playground for the rich, huge houses, long driveways, and gates everywhere. Post office probably said waterfront delivery was way easier. Yeah, I guess I can see how that would happen. Yeah. And oh, Michael Anthony Smith, you're still not at home. Ugh. I am so flippin' sorry. I just wish I could go wiggle, wiggle, wiggle the way Samantha did on Bewitched, only without her fingers, and make you go, you're home now. So I'm glad that Statterbox crew can help pass some time, because Lord knows time needs all the help passing when you're just sitting there in the hospital. So, let's see here. Okay, so we saw a video hot off the presses today from my springtime excursion trying to find spring flowers, but I actually did make a real life video and everything for a Lono tune that isn't on any album, so this might be the first time that you guys have heard this Lono song, and it is a song called Things Are Getting Better. And even though my video editing skills are essentially non-existent, I vaguely tried to do something fancy with my video. So it starts out in white center, where it's old school buildings, road is all torn up and nasty, but then it goes down the Delridge Valley. You've heard me talk about the Delridge Valley. It goes down Delridge Way, which is alongside Longfellow Creek, Delridge Valley, and into the city of Seattle, where a lot of improvements have been being made. But throughout the video, you'll be able to see clearly what is new construction, and then clearly what is old buildings. So the question is, when you're watching it, it's like, are things really getting better? So that is my little secret message in this video. The video originally was 20 minutes long. It is actually now sped up. It's only like 3.5 minutes to match the length of the song. And no, Anne, it is not a new Lono song. In fact, it's probably, I don't even know how old it is. Like, I would say it's a 20 to 30 year old Lono song. It's a very old Lono song that is not available on any albums that I know of at the moment. So who knows if that will change. I'm not suggesting it will. I'm not implying it will. I truly don't know if that will change. But I figure we can enjoy this song, enjoy the Delridge Valley video, and yeah, here we go.
I said things are getting better. Things are getting better. Yeah, yeah. I said things are getting better. Yeah, yeah. Well, I said things are getting better. Yeah, yeah. Oh, things are getting better since I left that dusty ranch. Should have known better than to take my place out of society's good grace. I said things are getting better. Yeah, yeah. 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 Things are getting better since that girl walked right out on me. breaking, and you're looking so good tonight. Are things getting better? Said things are getting better. I said things are getting better. Yeah, yeah. I said things are getting better. Yeah. I said things are getting better. Yeah, yeah. I said things are getting better. Yeah. I said things are getting better. Yeah, yeah. I said things are getting better. Yeah, yeah. I said things are getting better. Yeah, yeah. Things are getting better, even better than before. With just a request, put the money on the floor. Wildin', smiling, now I'm always styling. Sun is a shining, music on the island. Sit right back and have yourself a cold one. And tell me now, are things getting better? Oh, things are getting better. Yeah, yeah. Well, I said things are getting better. Yeah, yeah. Well, I said things are getting better. Oh, yeah. Well, I said things are getting better. Oh, yeah. Well, I said things are getting better. Yeah, yeah. Well, I said things are getting better. Yeah, yeah. Well, I said things are getting better. Yeah, yeah. Well, I said things are getting better. Yeah, yeah. I said things are getting better. Ah, yeah. Well, I said things are getting better. Yeah, yeah. Well, I said things are getting better.
Well, shoot, Rick, I didn't see the sound check until right near the end there. I'm so sorry. I did turn down that music level, but it looks like I must have turned it down a little bit too low, which is unfortunate because it was a Lono tune that you guys might not have heard yet. And so, as you can see though, or Matt, maybe you could hear it actually, very, very unusual Lono tune that is a style that we're not necessarily accustomed to. A little bit faster, which is why I thought maybe speeding up the video might be a little bit appropriate, because it felt like it just felt like that music wanted to go faster. And so okay, medium 7-Up, good. You cranked it and you could hear. Fantastic. Someone knew how to work with the technology. That someone's not me. That someone was medium 7-Up. And it sounds like Ann Ware had an idea too. Turn it up. That's right. You always got to turn up Lono. Always. So, yeah. So that's super old Lono tune that he has given me permission to share with everybody. The video, if you want to watch that video again, maybe turn the music up a little bit louder. It has been posted onto YouTube last night, so it's there for you to check out again. And so yeah, I just figured I could, well, I don't know. I had a bunch of footage because that footage was taken just a few days ago, I think on March 6th. So, all these things are fresh, hot off the presses. It's what Seattle actually looks like right now, except for the blue sky part. You didn't see any blue sky. It's rainy today. Always rainy. It's always rainy in Seattle. Look deep into my honu. It's always rainy in Seattle. Okay, all right. I'm not a hypnotist. What can I say? So, okay, cool. It looks like people figured out how to use the volume controls, and it's Michael Anthony Smith, apparently, though. His nurse hasn't figured out how to do anything except for maybe kill Michael Anthony Smith, because that guy, he's killing you there, apparently. Really sorry to hear that, Michael Anthony Smith. I don't know what he's doing, but it sounds like you're a grumpy camper, and that's okay. Because I would be a really grumpy camper if I were in your shoes too. So I'm not calling you a grumpy camper as a judgment. I'm calling you a grumpy camper as a, yeah, dude, you have every right to be a grumpy camper. So there you go. And perfect, Rick. I can trust the Statterbox crew to keep up the cloud cover. I see what you did there. Yes, that's fantastic. Kenny from the Cove, you got a volume button and you ain't scared to use it. Well, I'm glad, because apparently I was afraid to use it. I didn't want to blast you guys out with a really super high volume video. So next time I play that video, I'll try to remember to up the volume just a smidge. And that's exactly it, Mike Lanzi Smith. You are a grumpy camper, and that's okay. No judgment. I'm totally not judging you for being a grumpy camper. I would totally be one too. I mean, it's nice to think, oh yeah, I'm a good patient. Yeah, I'm probably a good patient for like the first 72 hours. And then after that, it's just like, just let me go home. Just let me go home to my kitties. So, yeah. Yeah, because I don't know, you've been there for like almost a week now, haven't you? It's been a minute. It's been a minute since you've been in there. So, hopefully they don't break you too bad, and hopefully they fix you. And if they break you, I hope they fix you. That's just how that works. Let's see here. As you can see, I have my pamplemousse back. I stole it from work because I didn't go grocery shopping this week. I figured, I don't need to. And then I ran out of my pamplemousse. And that was a problem, so. Oh, Andre, thank you so much for the 200 biddies. And you know what? I feel like Kenny gave me a whole bunch of biddies and I completely ignored him. And if I didn't ignore him, then oops, I'm saying thanks twice. But Kenny, thanks for those biddies. If I didn't say thank you like 1,000,008 years ago when you gave them to me, thank you now. And I'm really sorry I didn't thank you. So, yeah. And thank you, Andre, for more of the biddies. And let's see here. So, Rick, FYI, I usually run at 50% volume on both my PC and Twitch app. You know how much work it takes to change them. Fair enough. And yeah, Darlene, exactly. You don't like being a patient either, precisely. And yes, Vanilla Coke Pepsi, I have broken you. That makes me so happy. Vanilla Coke Pepsi says, at this point, I will just give up and accept the damage of Mad Statter's mispronunciations. Yes. I've got one of ya. I got one of ya. Now, if only I can get Anne on my side as well. And then I'll have 2 French speakers on my side. And that'll only leave like 384 million left to get on my side. No, you're on my side, Vanilla Coke Pepsi. You already said you can handle it. You're on my side. You're on my side. Hey, C Honda, so good to see you. I am here basically mispronouncing French words as usual. And Vanilla Coke Pepsi, he's rolling over in his grave, even though he doesn't have a grave. And Anne Ware, she's plugging her ears saying, never, never, never. And that's how that works. So yeah, it's just Kenny from the Cove, ever so diplomatic. It's just part of Statter's charm, Vanilla Coke Pepsi. Thank you for being diplomatic there, Kenny, trying to keep this peaceful truce going on before it is war. That is right. You will fight the Pample until you capitulate, says Anne Ware. No, it's Pample, not Quebec, French. Whoa. I don't know. That's actually a really horrible thing for me to say. I don't even know what whoa is supposed to mean other than me making fun of the French accent, which is really rude. And I'm sorry. I don't mean to point and laugh, but here I am pointing and laughing. That is it. So, talk to Rick about one person he might know that mispronounces words often. Darlene, do you maybe resemble that remark? We might be sisters. We seem to get the same vibe a lot. Oh no, Vanilla Coke Pepsi and Anne Ware, they are plotting a mutiny, trying to speak French next time. only speak French to trigger and confuse us, to trigger and confuse the Anglo-Saxons. Oh, I need to stop cracking myself up. So, okay, so Picola T, lurking while I chop cilantro for guacamole. Do you say cilantro or cilantro? Well, apparently I say cilantro. I actually didn't know that until I was reading your thing. I say cilantro. So yeah, cilantro? Who says cilantro? What? Who says cilantro? No, it's cilantro, isn't it? Or am I mean, I know that I'm known for mispronouncing words, so maybe I am mispronouncing cilantro, but it's cilantro, right? Right? And Vanilla Coke Pepsi, say pecan. All right, I'll say pecan. I sometimes say pecan, but not very often. But what I really like to say, because I know it pisses people off, and it's funny that you chose pecan as the word, because I say pecan. Yep, pecan. I don't like pecan pie. I do. I say pecan. And I say pecan for the same reason that I say pamplemousse. So I don't just do it with French words. I do it with English words too. You know how I say lettuce? I say lettucey. Why? I don't know. Because I do. You know how I say pineapple? Piniopoli. Why? Because I do. I don't know why. So, you know, Piniopoli, lettucey, pecan. Are you dead yet? Because I feel like you might be rolling over in your grave. And so Cindy says cilantro. eMusic says people who don't know how to pronounce Spanish say it wrong. So I'm assuming it's cilantro then. I'm assuming it's cilantro then, because I don't speak Spanish and I say cilantro. So which is it, you guys? And I'm assuming Cindy Krause might know how to speak some Spanish. So seriously, actually, is it cilantro or is it cilantro? I know what I say, and that says to me, yeah, I'm probably wrong. So Ann Ware says antro. Picola's Tea says, why is pineapple called anana in so many languages? Well, because I think that, Picola Tea, I think the real question is, if it's called anana in so many languages, why did we call it pineapple, right? But, you know, that is a good question. Okay, so Cindy Krause says it's more lawn than lan. And eMusic says I am pronouncing it correctly. Well, that might be one of the first times I've ever heard that phrase directed in my direction. You're saying it correctly. Really? Really? Awesome. So let's see here. Vanilla Coke Pepsi. Yes. The only way to not be offensive is to be on purposely offensive. That's pretty much, yeah, there we go. And you did ask me how to say caramel, and I say caramel and I say caramel both. It kind of just depends on my mood. But pecan, let me tell ya, it's pecan, all right. And because it's a piney apple. No, it's a piniopole. That's what I call pineapples. Piniopole. Oh, okay, eMusic. A in Spanish is ah, so cilantro would make more sense. Okay. Let's see here. Kenny from the Cove says people who say cilantro also say pecans and jalapenos. Jalapenos or I'm not sure how I'm supposed to say. Do people actually pronounce jalapeno with a J? Really? Oh my goodness. I mean, okay. All right. And Picola Tea, exactly. Okay. Now, Picola Tea just did strike a nerve. There is no R in Washington. Washington is called Washington. And why people say Washington, I don't know. And I can sort of feel your pain there, Vanilla Coke Pepsi, because whenever people say Washington, oh, it kind of makes me want to roll over in my grave. I don't have a grave yet, but I still want to roll over in it. So there we go. Exactly. I'm giving you my Achilles heel, Vanilla Coke Pepsi. Washington. You got it. If I'm going to say Pample, you can say Washington. But let's see here. And Rick, and there is an R in New York. That is true, although people from New York don't always say it like that. Let's see here. E-music, people here pronounce tortilla as tortilla. That E-music, I'm sorry I can't remember. Were you here last Saturday for Statterbox at the cinema when we watched Napoleon Dynamite? Because that's exactly what the grandma said. She didn't say tortilla, but she did say, eat a gosh darn quesadilla, or whatever. And that just always makes me laugh when they say tortilla, quesadilla. It's just like, yeah. So let's see here. And where your first grade teacher would say, go wash your hands. And I just couldn't respect her after that. I can appreciate your logic, Anne. I really can. I mean, you're supposed to be teaching kids how to read words, and you're putting invisible letters in words that don't have the invisible letters. Actually, now here is a controversial statement that even the French speakers might be able to get behind me on. Hold on. What? French speakers agreeing with something I say? Yes. Because in France, you don't pronounce a lot of letters that are written down. In French, you don't, that is. So, like, French-speaking people must really hate people who pronounce letters that aren't even in the words. Like Washington or Warsh. It's like, hello? What? You're not even supposed to pronounce the R when it's written down in French, right? That's right. Invisible letters. My new soapbox, Rick. That is right. Exactly, Bacola T. Just be French and ignore a whole bunch of the alphabets. And you felt like a very judgmental first grader, but I was right. No, Vanilla Coke Pepsi. Washington City, the capital of Worshipton. That's funny and that's cute, but no. Seattle, you really should say that Seattle's the capital of Washington City, which is totally not right. Seattle is not the capital of Washington. Olympia is. So many people think Seattle is. And so if you really, really, really want to piss off a Washington person, say that Seattle is the capital of Washington. Worshipton. That's cute. Let's see here. So I know, Darlene, he is going to use my Achilles heel to the most. And you know what, Darlene? I deserve it. I mean, I purposely, knowingly rub his nose in my pamplemousse. And so he has every right and reason to throw down an R when there is no R. Despite his French-speaking inclinations to ignore the R in words, he's going to break his own rules. He's going to break his own rules, and he is going to add an R when there is no R. Yep. Joel DePsycho. So, hey, yeah, I'm not sure what your question was. Something about jugs. I don't know what that was, what you were asking, but if you are asking a question in good faith, then I can maybe answer your question if I know what your question was all about. Am I a mug maniac? I don't know what that means. So I'm going to say no, because I don't know what that means. But what does that mean? And maybe I am, and I don't know it. Oh, mug root beer. Got it. Okay. Gross. No, I don't like mug root beer, but I don't like root beer. So that has nothing to do with mug at all. But I do like Dr. Pepper. So, And I know that when I go to restaurants, sometimes when I order a Dr. Pepper, the waitress asks if root beer is acceptable, which is kind of weird because I don't think that Dr. Pepper and root beer are even interchangeable. I mean, Coke and Pepsi, I get it, but Dr. Pepper and root beer, like, why would you ask me that, right? Yeah, Dr. Pepper is super good. It's definitely one of my favorites. But Joel DePsycho, I will point out, Rick is a moderator here. So if we're going to be throwing down swords, his sword is probably bigger than yours on this stream. That being said, I think that there was a little bit of a misunderstanding, of what your question was. Clearly, I didn't know what your question was either. But it sounds like you might be able to hang out in the chat room now that we're getting the kerfuffle out of the way. It sounds like you might be able to hang out in the chat room because we talk about a lot of different stuff, but we do try to be nice. We generally try not to swear, although I have been known to throw down an occasional one on accident. But hey, that's what happens sometimes. So, And so let's see here. Kenny from the Cove throwing down some Dr. Pepper trivia. Kenny from the Cove, being from Texas, might know a little bit about that. And there is no period after the doctor in Dr. Pepper. I did not know that. And you would think with all of the Dr. Pepper cans that I have accumulated throughout my life, I would have noticed that at some point. So let's see here. Joel DePsycho. This is an old name. You actually changed your name to Joel Not So Psycho a while ago. Fantastic. So let's see here. Dr. Pepper, you don't know if we can be optician besties anymore? Oh no. That's really too bad because I really liked our time that we spent at the optician, but I won't force you to drink the Dr. Peppers. You can have all of my mug root beers if I can have all of your Dr. Peppers. That'll work for you, Pocoli tea. And Vanilla Coke Pepsi. This would have been a good trivia question for last stream when we were talking about all the cereals. I did not realize that Fruit Loops was actually spelled FROOTLOOPS. I mean, the loops part I knew, the fruit part I didn't know. So that I'm gonna go check the store next time to see if you're making that up. So let's see here. Michael Anthony Smith, you used to be an optician. Well, Pocoli T and I went drinking at your establishment once. Apparently, maybe. And let's see here. Oh my goodness, wait, hold on. Michael Anthony Smith, you just got 8 shots? Okay, hold on. I got a million things here to go. Oh no. All right, I'm missing a whole bunch of things. But it looks like 8 shots. Dude, that's a lot of shots. You are a pincushion today. That's not okay. And Vanilla Coke Pepsi. Captain Crunch is not a captain. His rank on his arm is actually commander. Well, that's interesting. Because, a commander is higher rank, so you'd think he'd want to be referred to by his higher insignia. And yeah, Joel DePsycho, Dr. Pepper is totally a U.S. drink. It's made in Texas, actually, was the original manufacturer, I guess. And now this part, somebody's definitely going to have to fact check me on. But I believe the original manufacturer for Dr. Pepper is A, still manufacturing it, and B, they're the only one left that uses real sugar as opposed to high fructose corn syrup. And so the Dr. Pepper from this one bottling plant in Texas, the original bottling plant in Texas, is the only Dr. Pepper that you can find in the United States that is made with real sugar as opposed to high fructose corn syrup. Now, when it comes to what gets imported into the UK, I have no idea what it is, whether or not it's real sugar or high fructose corn syrup, because I'm not really sure what the UK's food guidelines are in regards to high fructose corn syrup. Obviously, in the United States, high fructose corn syrup is fine and dandy to use, but I know in some places it's not. So, so perhaps the Dr. Pepper that you get where you're at is also made with sugar, in which case it's more like the original Dr. Pepper. But the stuff that the United States mostly gets outside of that one bottling plant in Texas, it's a little bit different than the original. And let's see here. Joel, you're asking, does anybody know of or drink Thatcher's cider? No. And I have a question about that. When you say cider, do you mean alcoholic or not alcoholic? Because I know that in the UK, cider with alcohol is very commonplace. In the States, it can kind of go either way, you know? Sometimes, most, you know, a lot of people refer to cider as non-alcoholic. On the other hand, there's alcoholic cider. Okay, alcoholic all the way. I figured as much. I just wanted to clarify. And no, I've never heard of that. But I do like cider. As Cindy Krause is saying, never heard of it, but cider's good, so I would try it. And Joel the Psycho, non-alcohol cider basically doesn't exist in the UK. I had a feeling that was the case as well, but wasn't really sure. So, so cool. Learning something here today. So England doesn't necessarily use the metric system, but they don't not use the metric system either. And non-alcoholic cider pretty much doesn't exist in England. See, so these are some things that we learned today on Chatter with Statter. And, so let's see here. Vanilla Coke Pepsi says in Canada, cider here is usually non-alcoholic. We usually call alcoholic drinks with no alcohol. Wait, what? You call non-alcoholic, Okay, I'm not reading this right, but Vanilla Coke Pepsi have just confused me. Cider in Canada is usually non-alcoholic. We usually call alcoholic drinks with no alcohol a cider. That makes no sense. So like non-alcoholic bourbon, I've never even heard of that. Non-alcoholic wine? That's grape juice, dude. I don't even know what you're talking about. I mean, like, you've blown my mind. And I do know that in BC, they have alcoholic ciders are hugely popular. In fact, before ciders became popular in the United States, one of the only places that I could get hard cider was when my mom would cross the border into Canada, and she would bring down a bunch of these things called Okanagan ciders. They're, you know, peach, blackberry, pear, apple, all different flavors from the Okanagan Valley up in the interior of British Columbia. So I definitely know that BC has a cider tradition, but now I'm very confused. Oh yes, that's right. We also learned about swing arm mailboxes today on Chatter with Statter. Thank you so much, eMusic. That is exactly. And yeah, Picola Tea, I'm wondering too, was it Maggie Thatcher who made that cider? And Picola Tea, I did know that George Washington distilled rye whiskey, and I want to say there was a moonshiner like on TV somewhere where they had a show about moonshiners, and they had stumbled upon a recipe that in theory was from George Washington's rye whiskey recipe book or whatever, and they tried to make it. And okay, so Vanilla Coke Pepsi, non-alcoholic beer and non-alcoholic vodka are called vodka cider and beer cider. Okay, cool, but I've still never heard of non-alcoholic vodka. Non-alcoholic vodka, non-alcoholic bourbon, non-alcoholic wine. Like, none of these, I've heard of non-alcoholic beer. We do have that here. But all these other things that you're saying, I don't think we even have them in the United States. Do you guys, does anybody here know what the flying fork it is that Vanilla Coke Pepsi is talking about? I mean, or do we have them here in some parts of stuff? Yeah, no, I think it might be a Canadian thing, dude. I'm a little bit confused. Or actually, I'm a bit confused. So, let's see here. Kenny from the Cove. Dr. Pepper was invented in Waco, Texas. See, that's right. And only some of them have the pure cane sugar. If it doesn't say made with pure cane sugar on the label, it's sweetened with something else. And the pure cane sugar Dr. Peppers have a different label from the regular ones. Absolutely, they do. They do. They're coveted by the real deals. The real deal Dr. Pepper lovers, apparently. So, hold on one sec. Oh yeah, that's right. We also learned about frozen hair. So Joel DePsycho, you were not here earlier, and you're from the UK, so you might know this or you might not. Did you know that when it gets super cold out, I mean like super cold out, and you go outside with wet hair, your hair can freeze, so then you can like break it? Like it will break in half? It'll break off? We learned that today too here. So let's see here. Joel DePsycho saying, I don't know if Maggie Thatcher was the one. All I know is that, scroll is moving fast. All I know is that I grew up around the corner from the main distillery for Thatcher's cider. And as a Somerset local, I grew up drinking lots of cider to the point now where I basically only drink Thatcher's when you go out. Makes sense. Sounds like it's like your water to you. Yeah, so Darlene, you only know of alcohol ciders. I mean, the fresh, during the fall, you've got the fresh apple cider press with just the juice, but don't drink that juice quick enough and it quickly turns into a fizzy alcoholic cider. And it's vanilla Coke Pepsi, like it's common to give teenager the vodka or beer ciders to teach them responsible drinking, but if it doesn't get them drunk, then how would that teach them responsible drinking? Canadian people confuse me. And I say that as someone who had a mom who was Canadian. So, they've confused me my whole life. Alright then. Alright. And yeah, Picola tea, exactly. Non-alcoholic vodka. That's the water we put in the parents' booze bottles, right? So, Panel, you're saying no alcohol wines and beers that you know of. Well, like I said, I've never heard of non-alcoholic wine, but there's definitely O'Doul's is a non-alcoholic beer. And yeah, Cindy Krause, exactly. Now that Joel DePsycho has decided to turn us on to this whole situation, Mad Statter, she says, now we have to plan a trip to Somerset and test out some Thatcher's cider. Exactly. It's a little road trip. I mean, it'll be a little bit more of a road trip than just a road trip, but yeah, Vanilla Coke Pepsi, you are teaching us. See, there's a reason why, even though you're a Canadian teenager, hanging out with a bunch of old American farts, and maybe even a fart from the UK. I don't know how old Joel is, so I won't call him an old fart, but, he's probably older than you. Yeah, there's a reason why you're hanging out with us. You can teach us stuff, too. Let's see here. Yes, cider can be strong, Panel, without a doubt. Kenny from the Cove, down here, alcoholic cider is called Applejack. Oh, see, now that's not what Applejack is from my understanding. My understanding is Applejack is actually apple cider that has been condensed into basically an apple brandy. Applejack is, what happens when, the cider freezes and then you take the ice off, because the ice is the water, and then it just keeps reducing and reducing as the water freezes out of it. Is from what I was told what Applejack is. Applejack is definitely different and much stronger than like you take like a cider, you would drink a bottle of it like a bottle of beer. Whereas like with Applejack, you drink a shot of it like a shot of whiskey. It's way more condensed. Let's see here. Good to see you, Shock. The guitar man had to go early, so you're here, y'all. Fantastic. And yeah, Cindy, exactly. In the fall, you go to the local orchard and you buy the yummy cider, and then you only drink half the half gallon or whatever, because you can only drink so much flippin' cider. And then then the bottle, the plastic jug kind of puffs up because it's fermenting in the jug. And then when you open it, it goes, and then it's a little bit fizzy. Like that's how you make cider, right? I mean, cider basically, cider alcohols itself real quick and easy. Now, obviously, apple juice that's been, pasteurized or whatever, that's not going to. But when you just get the fresh, the brown cider, because if it's clear and yellow, you've got juice there, fella. If it's tangy and brown, you're in cider town. That's how you tell them apart. I learned that off of The Simpsons from Ned Flanders. There you go. And Joel the Psycho, responsible drinking is few and far between in the UK, especially in farm territory. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Joel, so you're 21. You're definitely not an old fart, but in comparison to Vanilla Coke Pepsi, you are, because Vanilla Coke Pepsi, he's just a little teenager, but he's a teenager who knows a whole bunch because he's teaching us some stuff. And Piccoli Tea has the guacamole done. Do I want some? Yes, please. And Cindy Krause, exactly. When the top pops off, it's ready. That's exactly it. That is exactly it. Kenny from the Cove, drinking fermented fruit juices. Much love to whoever discovered that. Yeah, my best guess is it might have been an accident. I know that I had a friend whose kids accidentally. No, yeah, actually, it was my best friend. His daughter accidentally, like when she was 13 or 14, accidentally got drunk. Her and her, she had a friend over. They were, spending the night, slumber party, and there was some cider in the fridge that had kind of turned, and he noticed that they were acting like a little bit giggly and silly, as the night progressed, but he didn't really think about it. And then he saw that they were drinking the cider, and he kind of put two and two together, and he went and smelled the cider, and he was like, you guys are cut off. No more cider for you. And they're like, what? He's like, didn't you notice it was a little tangy, a little fizzy? And they're like, yeah, we thought that was weird. And he's like, yeah, and you're getting drunk. So, and they had no idea that they were getting drunk. It was, or at least that was their story. And actually, I do think that they didn't realize what was happening because they weren't sneaking booze. They literally were drinking what they thought was apple juice out of the fridge. So, I do actually think that they didn't know they were getting drunk. Vanilla Coke Pepsi, I forget what country, but 50 years ago, a country banned alcohol, and then everyone started making it there on their own, so they had no choice to lift it. You might be thinking of the United States, dude. That was totally what happened in the 1920s and 30s in the 100 years ago, basically. But yeah, that's what happened in the United States 100 years ago. So that's how that works. And and where last summer you had a hummingbird fly onto my porch and it took a nap. It was drunk off your apple tree in the yard. That is so funny. I don't know if this is cruel or what, but I love to watch animals that have gotten into the rotten fruit on the ground because they get drunk off of it. And if you've ever seen drunk squirrels off of fallen apples trying to climb trees, oh, seriously, if you haven't seen it, I'm sure there's a YouTube video of it. It's hysterical. Drunken squirrels are the funniest things to watch ever. And I know that's maybe cruel, but I didn't get them drunk. And I wasn't the one who grew the apples that fell on the ground, that then fermented, that they then ate. I don't know. All I know is, yeah, it's funny. Oh, Cindy, you're being sneaky. Kid time in Hawaii. You go out into the apple fields and find one close to ripe, slice the top off and cut the core out, pack with sugar, and wire the top back on. Come back 3 to 5 days and you got swipe. I don't know what swipe is, but I have a feeling I know what it does. So, let's see here. So, yeah, well, exactly, and it's funny as long as it's unintentional. Right, yeah, it's not like, we're going out and catching hummingbirds and eye dropping them with vodka. It's like, here's some Everclear, little hummingbird. I hope you don't die, So, let's see here. Vanilla Coke Pepsi, you remember when you were a kid, your mom used to give you a wine glass and put apple juice in it, and you were pretending you were tipsy drinking champagne, like by slurring your speech and tripping all over the place. Something when you were a weird kid. Dude, no, you're not a weird kid. As Shock just says, like, oh no, every kid does that. And not only, oh no, every kid does that. I don't pretend that I'm drunk, but I'll tell you this right now. I am almost 50 years old. I am legal to buy champagne. I am allowed everywhere pretty much in the world that champagne is sold. I'm allowed to buy it and consume it. And whenever I'm on an airplane, I order ginger ale and I pretend like I'm a fancy rich person drinking champagne on the airplane. Yeah, as a grown-up, I do that still. I could drink champagne on the airplane if I wanted. I don't, though. I just would rather pretend to drink the fancy champagne, so I drink ginger ale, and I pretend it's fancy champagne. And I've done that since I was a little kid, and I will continue to do that until I stop flying on airplanes, probably. But if I'm going to be on an airplane, chances are you're going to see me with a cup of ginger ale. And if you're playing along, you better pretend like it's champagne, because it's champagne. Even though it's not really champagne. It's ginger ale. It's champagne. Because I'm fancy. Because I'm on an airplane, right? Yeah. So there you have it. And, Vanilla Coke Pepsi, grown-ups are just professional children. Abraham Lincoln, The Art of War. Don't really know if Abraham Lincoln was the one who wrote The Art of War. So I'm gonna have to question that quote, but I do like it. I'm just not so sure. I'm not so sure your source is exactly on point. Shock, your spouse says that I'm better off with the ginger ale than what they serve on the airplane. Well, actually, there is something to be said for that. Yeah, exactly. Vanilla Coke Pepsi, Sun Tzu wrote The Art of War. That's why I was like, I don't know if you've got that source right. But yeah, I was thinking like whatever champagne they have on the airplane is probably not up to my high standards, because I am a little bit of a champagne snob. I do like champagne, just not on an airplane. My airplane champagne is ginger ale. Ginger ale. So let's see here. Oh, you're frozen up, Michael Anthony Smith. All right, well, I'm glad you could hang out for as long as you did. I'm sorry that you had to hang out for as long as you did where you're at, but super stoked we could maybe help the time pass a little bit quicker. And I do hope that next time we see you, you're going to be home. So this is what I have to say to you, Mr. Michael Anthony Smith. Go home! I would like to say, go home, you're drunk, but you're not. So just go home. Here we go. And speaking of going home, everybody needs to go home. I've already babbled for like 10 minutes too long. It is time to wrap this up. So I do hope to see you tomorrow on Daily Pigeon Live with Andy Bumatai, 5 p.m. on Twitch. 5 p.m. West Coast time on Twitch, 3 p.m. Hawaii time, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. He, as you probably know, does his show Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And I think there might be more, but I'm not going to tell you what they are. And what is my champagne pronounced like on SNL of choice? I like Veuve Clicquot, Orange Label. But I actually had a really good Mum's California vineyard, not their traditional one, in France, that was pretty tasty as well. But for the most part, if it's not, more than $30, there's a good chance I'm not going to like it. And that's like the low end. So I try not to drink a whole lot of champagne. I don't have the money for it. Yes. So on that note, I think we're going to wind this up. So clink, cheers our champagne glasses. And if not champagne glasses, then your ginger ale cups. So glad that everybody could hang out. Thank you guys so much for welcoming in Joel, the psycho, who's actually not a psycho. He's a very nice young man. And thank you so much for everybody who subbed and who donated the biddies and who hung out to clink our fake champagne glasses. I will see you hopefully tomorrow on Andy's show, but if not tomorrow, hopefully I will see you on Saturday, where we are going to watch Roll Bounce, which is the movie for Statterbox at the cinema. And, okay, I know I said we're going to wrap this up, but we're not. Hold on, I got one more thing. We are going to remain on the same schedule. Andy Bumatai has decided that he's going to move back his Sunday show. So my show will remain 5 p.m. Wednesday, 5 p.m. Sunday, West Coast time, 6 p.m. Saturday for Statterbox stuff. And basically Andy's going to move his schedule, but like it really won't affect any of us kind of thing, except for those who are in Hawaii. So that is how that's going to work. He's going to go on at 12:30 because now after the daylight savings time, Hawaii is going to be 3 hours, not just 2 hours difference between Hawaii and the continental United States. So he's going to go on an hour early. And so Sunday will remain with our 3-hour cruises, starting at the usual times for everybody. And Terry in Scotland, it's good to see you. I do ever look at the chat, but I was busy talking. So I do look at the chat, though. I do. And and where exactly? It'll be on the same time on the mainland. Yeah, Andy's the only one that's basically adjusting his schedule. Everybody else who's on the continental United States, or everybody who's outside of Hawaii will basically be remaining on the schedule. It's only the Hawaii folks that are going to have to adjust their time frames. So I'm not going to get into that because it literally requires graphs and charts and clock faces and time values and things to keep it all straight. And we're not going there. So now that I've babbled on for 15 minutes longer than I should have, I think it might be time to wrap it up. So, so there we go. Thank you guys again so much for hanging out, listening to me babble. And hope to see you Saturday. Hope to see you Thursday. Hope to see you Sunday. You know, I just hope to see you. All right. There we go. Have yourself a good evening, and we'll talk soon. Take care.